Hi guys, Ryan Stevens here, and I'm going to talk to you today about a wellbeing check-in. Now, you may be already quite good with this, but if you're anything like me, you probably just go about your day, running from pillar to post, doing a million and one things, and not really sitting there and thinking, how am I doing today? And how am I feeling today? So this is something I do with one-to-one clients, and this is something I do when I go into companies or run wellbeing days. And what I like to do is really get people thinking, like, how do I feel right now about each of these 8 areas, which I'll talk you through in a second. And if you've got a pen and paper in front of you, great. If you haven't, pause this video and go and grab one, because I want you to really run through this with me and figure out where you feel like you're at right now with each of these areas. Now, this isn't a be-all and end-all. So if you are feeling maybe a little bit anxious, a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit angry, a little bit emotional, or if you're really dealing with some stuff, definitely go and speak to somebody who can give you some professional support and help. But what I like to do, especially when I work with people one-to-one or groups, is figure out some of the basics first. And if all the basics are a little bit off, we can find ways to try and improve some of those areas. And if you tick all those areas off and you improve them a little bit and you're still not feeling right, that's when I think it's good to really look at other avenues and additional support to really find out what's going on and how to support you, to get the support to really move forward. Now, like I said, there's 8 areas here. Now, I want you to write each of these down and write between 1 and 10. So 1 being low and feeling like you probably could make some changes there, and 10 being absolutely fine, I don't need to make any changes, that area is great, okay? And we are going to do these in a sort of order of importance as well. So number 1 is air. Now, how do you feel you are interacting with fresh air at the moment? So that is the quality of the air. So if you live in London and you're not going in near parks and things like that, you're just breathing in either fumes of cars and things like that, or you are in an office and it's recycled air and things like that, how much fresh air are you actually getting in terms of how you feel about it? Or how often are you doing some proper breathing techniques? So number 1, air. From 1 to 10, write that down. Okay, number 2, water intake. So I'm not talking about Red Bulls, I'm not talking about coffee. Herbal teas, they can kind of work, especially if they haven't got caffeine in them because your liver's not processing it and it is hot water. If you're drinking squash, that's okay. You know, you've got a little bit of the sugar in there as well. But generally that is mostly water. We ideally, like I said, want to be trying to get as close to the natural compound, I suppose, if you like, as possible. So what is your daily water intake like? Obviously, this depends on your body size, this depends on where you are in the world and the temperature that's there and the heat, depends on your activity levels. But generally 2.5 litres, maybe a little bit more for men perhaps, but generally it should be about how you feel you're at with it. If you think, I don't drink that much water, or I'm just down in a litre in the evenings, but I'm not sipping it throughout the days, that's not as good as it could be. So just where you feel like you're at with that number 2, water. Number 3, sleep. Now, this is a super important one, as we know. This is about the quality and the duration of your sleep. Now, I've got a Garmin, but I've got an Oura ring as well. Now, the Oura ring gives you really good data about your sleep and about how the quality was, how much REM sleep you had, how much deep sleep you had. Generally, you want about 20% deep sleep, 20% of REM sleep, and then the rest you would want then 60% of light sleep. But the thing is, we should be probably getting at least a minimum of 6 hours, ideally a bit more each night, and the continuity or the consistency of the time you go to bed and the time you wake up is really important. I'm very guilty at not getting this right, but if you can get 6 hours every single night, or 6.5 hours every single night, but you have a consistent sleep time and wake time, you will have greater sleep efficiency, which will mean that you're going to feel more restored, and you don't necessarily need 8 or 9 hours. Some people do, like I said, find what works for you. But what is that quality and duration like with sleep? So write that down from 1 to 10 now. Okay, number 4, food or diet. So this is it's a very big one for a lot of people. So if you are not eating that much fruit, you're not eating much veg, you are maybe eating a lot of ultra processed foods, so UPFs, or things with multiple ingredients, which is what they call it within the normal term, or UPFs is the little abbreviation or whatever you want to call it. So how is your diet right now? Could it be better? Are you eating a lot of sugar? Are you eating big meals late at night? Think about where you feel like you're at with it. How could it be better? And actually try and mark how you feel like you're at with that at the moment. So that's number 4. Number 5, movement. Doesn't have to be exercise. What I'm talking about here is just being active throughout the day. Now, walking, with the studies that they've got for walking, it is absolutely incredible for general health, but also cardiovascular risk reduction. So there was a study that I believe from people who walked 8,000 steps a day up to 16,000 steps a day. The people who walked the top end of that, 16,000 steps a day, they had a 40% decreased risk of cardiovascular issues and disease compared with people who walked 7,000 or 8,000 and less. So that is a significant drop off in those risks, especially as you get into a little bit later into life. So it doesn't have to be exercise, or it doesn't have to be anything that's too physical. Like I said, it's mostly about movement, but if you're doing a lot of exercise as well, obviously there's a whole host of benefits with that. So think about how much are you moving, how many steps are you doing, how often you go into the gym. Think about that and then put that down now between 1 and 10. Okay, and number 6, this is one of my favorites, connection. So connection can be to other people, but also to the natural world, or feeling connected to the neighborhood and your communities and things like that. If you are nurturing those social connections and you're spending time outside and watching sunrises and sunsets, and you feel connected to the world around you, feel connected to the community, you feel connected to the people that you love and your friends and your family, and you're seeing them often, and it doesn't have to be a massive social circle, it can be your tight-knit or tight group essentially of human beings. How are you doing with that? Think about that and then rate that from 1 to 10. Number 7, sunlight and daylight. Now, I live in Wales, if you didn't tell by the accent, and we don't tend to get a lot of sunlight here, so we've got to really make the most of it. But even if it's a bit overcast or, a bit cloudy, still spending time outside is unbelievable for you. So you get the lux from the sun, which is the brightness, but you also get the vitamin D then, which helps with your mood regulation and a range of other bodily functions. But ultimately, you do feel more uplifted when it's a sunny day, just by looking outside. So it's so important to spend time outside. I think they say on a really, really sunny day, you can spend 5 or 10 minutes outside and you'll get like a decent amount of what you need. That's like the bare minimum. If it's quite overcast, you need to be spending 30 plus minutes. But if it's really dark and grim, you need to be spending at least an hour outside in order to try and help you self-regulate or regulate your body in the way that is going to be helpful to you. But think about how much time you're spending outside in that sunlight and daylight, and then put your answer down for that. Number 8, so this is nature. So the time you spend in nature. Now, I've put other videos up where I talked about the benefits of nature. So I think we all know it's important to be outside and to be in nature. But how often are you spending outside in these really natural environments, by the beach or in the woods or in the parks or anywhere where there's like a lot of greenery around you or a lot of blues around you? It's so important for our health and well-being. But also, if you think about it, we're getting a lot of this other stuff at the same time. We're going to be getting the sunlight and daylight. We might be getting movement if we're actually walking or running in that environment we're in. we're probably going to get better sleep from it, and we're definitely getting better air from it. So you're actually improving a lot of those markers of this wellbeing check-in just by spending time outside and really prioritizing it. So now that you've got your scores, I don't want you to look at it and think, oh my God, I'm so low on all these different things, and get really concerned or stressed about it. Don't get worried about it. How you perceive how you are with each of these will be very different to the person next to you, even though you may be doing better on some of those markers. So don't get stressed about it, don't get worried about it. Just use it as a little bit of a spotlight on where you are right now. And if you're feeling a little bit anxious, if you're feeling a little bit stressed, if you feel a little bit burnt out or a little bit lethargic, think about those areas that are maybe below 5 or below 6 and think, how can I move those up to the other areas, and create little actions for each of those things. So for example, water intake, carry a 2 litre or 1 litre bottle of water around with you every single day, and try and aim to do at least maybe 1 or 2 of those every single day. If it's diet and food, you could say, okay, I want to mark off on my phone or calendar or a habit tracking app every time I eat 3 fruit or 5 fruit a day. Or actually just getting rid of all of the stuff that's in your cupboards that you don't want to be eating, and try and incorporate more of the things that you want to be eating, so it's making it a little bit easier. So just think about one action for each of those different 8 things that is going to help you to be better and just move those scores up a little bit so that you're on the right side of it. Feel free to pop me an email or a message on social media. So the email is hello@ryanstevens.co, and my social media is Ryan Stevens with 3 underscores on Instagram. Get in touch, pop me a message, pop me an email if you've got anything that you want to run through, or if you want some little advice and guidance on how you can improve these areas. And if you want to look at doing some coaching and things like that, that's something we can do too. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you again.